that water is almost at the top of the gutter. It is actually on top of the hangers. This is Jonathan. Today we're back out at the garage and I wanted to show you what has been happening since the last time I climbed the ladder. So stay tuned and we'll show you what's happening. Before I let you go, if you wouldn't mind helping us get out in front of more YouTube folks, if you hit the like and or subscribe buttons, then that will let YouTube know that you are enjoying the content, and it will make it available to more people. So again, we appreciate your support with that. Now here's the video. It's just started raining again. I wanted to come over and take a look at these perforated aluminum gutter guards. So we're getting a pretty good amount of rain, and you can see how the water dribbles off the edge of the shingles and dumps into the screen itself. So while they're clean and clear of debris, they seem to be doing a pretty effective job. So the silver one we looked at was Shur-Flo. This is the Gutter RX system. Very similar design between the two. Similar result. The one I want to go check out, which I'll do here in a second, is the Englert system, which is one over, because that one is not one that we typically see on the marketplace. So here's the Englert system. The rain is coming down pretty hard right now, and you can see that water just streaming off the roof, off the edge of the shingles there, pretty much all the way across here. And if you look at the gutter guard itself, we're starting to see some water pass over the top. But it's not too terrible at this point. I'm going to put my umbrella down and get the full effect of the rain. But you can hear the rain, you can see the rain, and it's really streaming down here. So if you look at the front edge of this, what we're looking for, now naturally we got water that just hits the edge and it just works its way down. So how much of that water is going inside gutter and how much of it's coming over the top? So that's really the telltale question. And you can see my camera's getting pretty wet. I think I just heard a rumble of thunder. So it looks like the way this system is working is not unlike the other systems, but maybe a little different, because it's got more of a built-in slope to it. It's pushing the water forward, so you can see the water's hitting that solid surface in the back, and then it's working its way onto the screen, so it's kind of pushing it out onto the screen here. As it pushes the water out onto the screen, then it kind of shoots across. And the trick with this type of system is there enough force to draw the water through the screen, or does that water just shoot across the front of it, over the top of the surface? So I'm just going to put my hand here, so I can break the tension, essentially, or I can create a situation where the water adheres to my finger, if you can see that, and then it just kind of works around my finger and then it draws through. But if I release that, then is there enough tension to draw the water through the screen, or does it just shoot across the top and then come over? So this one has got this little lip, not that tall of a lip here at the end. The question is how much of the water is shooting straight across and then over top of that lip. So at the moment, I would say the water is pretty much staying within the gutter guard surface. I don't think it's raining hard enough at this point, even though it's raining pretty hard, to show it, actually coming over that little speed bump and then over the edge. So most of the water that we're seeing come over the edge at this point is water that's just hitting here, kind of like this leaf. It's gotten pushed off the surface. It'll eventually get pushed off the edge of the gutter there by the rain, and you can see that across here on this system. So it's got a good angle to it. It appears to be taking in most of the water I think where we might run into problems is, do we just have a volume of water that's built up on the screen and it's not able to drop through the holes quickly enough, and as a result it then cascades over the top to the ground below. I wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. I appreciate you for watching this video so far. I hope you find it informational. And before I get you back to the programming, I just wanted to take a moment. I'm Jonathan with Gutter Guards Direct. We've been helping homeowners solve their gutter and water problems since 1996. I started this video series in 2020 as a way to help homeowners better discern what gutter protection systems really work. There's obviously a lot of hype in the market. There's a lot of products on the market, way more products today than there ever were in the past, and I've always thought there were way too many gutter protection systems on the market. So this series is really my effort to help myself understand what are the best systems on the market, but by turning it into the Ultimate Gutter Guard Challenge on YouTube, it also helps you figure out what are the best systems for your particular environment. And again, I hope you're enjoying this video. Before I send you back to the programming, I wanted to take a moment and let you know that we also install gutters and gutter guards. And the guttering portion of it is generally in conjunction with installing the gutter guards. So we're not necessarily chasing gutter installation work by itself, but we will do it again if we are installing gutter guards on your home. And we service all of Ohio. We service southeast Michigan, so greater Detroit and Ann Arbor areas. We do greater Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to the east. To the west, we go as far as greater Indianapolis and points a little bit north of Indianapolis, and pretty much south of there down to the Cincinnati and kind of Louisville, Kentucky areas. So anywhere kind of along the Ohio and northern Kentucky border. We service Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky, and then really any point in between those markets from Ohio all the way down to Tennessee, where we service greater Nashville, greater Knoxville, and occasionally we'll even visit Chattanooga. So if you live in any of these markets and you are interested in a free assessment at your home and a free estimate, feel free to give us a call at 1-800-750-2131. Again, that's 1-800-750-2131 for your free in-home estimate. Thanks, and back to the programming. Here we're looking at the LeafOff system, so the one and only solid gutter cover in the test. You can see the way the water just transitions off the roof and then it streams across the panel. So this system is designed to have that water follow around the nose and drop inside the gutter, which is what it's effectively doing here. You can also see potentially how it's drawing in some of the small leaves and debris. So that those leaves, these are the small leaves off the locust tree, and when those things break off, they'll just kind of work their way around the clearing. You can also see some of the pine needles along here, and you can see some of that stuff sitting on the edge, top lip of the gutter. But what's happening in terms of the water flow? The water is going inside it as it should. So even though this has a really tight opening into the gutter, like maybe a 1/4 of an inch, the way the water comes down and adheres to it is it just draws that water right inside it. But again, you can see here where it's also pulling some of the debris inside with it. The rain's picking back up here, so I'll just hold the camera here for a minute and you can kind of watch it do its thing. let's watch this leaf. There are two leaves right here. One of them was shifting. If we can get a little bit more rain, that might go right inside the gutter. So that'll be just a good case in point as to what can happen. Here's the GutterStuff system. It's hard to even see the GutterStuff anymore, but it's below the leaves and debris. You can see the water just dripping off the edge of the gutter, off the edge of the shingles, and dropping on top of that. So there's really, there won't be a whole lot to report with this system other than the fact that you have debris sitting on top of the system, and it would be miraculous if the debris were able to overcome and pop out of here. So if anything, we're just going to see more debris building up on top of this system over the course of time. It's easier to see on the LeafSolution Xtreme gutter guard how the water transitions off the roof. So you can see this water dripping from the edge of the gutter shingle. In most cases, it's a faster drip when it's actually touching something. So in this case, a pine needle, and then some more pine needles and debris here in the middle. And then as you go farther over, where it's just dripping off the edge, a little bit more of a slow drip there. So you can see the debris sitting on top of the gutter guard itself, but as the water just drops onto the screen at this point, we don't have such a strong flow that it would push off of it, so it just hits the screen and drops right on through. So here's a good example. You can kind of see the water falling to the underside, and then it hits that expanded metal framework, and it kind of spreads out before it drops into the gutter. So this system is sitting, it's got a little bit of a built-in pitch, or a little bit of a pitch that we've put onto it. So you can see it's definitely higher in the back than it is in the front. So that's a pretty decent pitch on this, even though it's quite a bit less than the Klean Gutter system next to it, which is why you have a little bit more debris sitting on top, but it still has a significant enough angle that it should keep the water in and allow most of that debris to work its way off the top. Here we're taking another look at the LeafSolution Xtreme gutter guard, and again you can see how the water is just coming off the roof and dropping inside that. Where you got a little bit of water coming over is you got a couple leaves up here at the front, and those leaves are allowing the water to hit that, and then it works its way down the front. Otherwise that seems to be doing pretty well, again as the rain is coming to a close. The rain is starting to slow down, but what do you see? I've come back to the open gutter, and you can see it's now at the top, and it's literally been cascading over. And then the far end, not sure I'm going to be able to get down there in time, is the expanded mesh system, and water is definitely streaming over that one. You can see it kind of coming down at the end there, and I can see the water from here, but just with the short brief burst of rain that we've had in the last 10 minutes, you can see that we had about an inch or inch and a half of real estate until the water came up to the top, and you can see now that it's actually come to the top and it's kind of spilling over here in spots. It's a bit like a wave. It gets enough momentum and it just kind of shifts forward and comes over the top edge of the gutter there. So this is the open gutter with nothing inside. We do have a screen in the opening of the downspout just to collect as much debris in here as we possibly can, but that has gotten sufficiently clogged and it's allowed the water to build up inside. And if you look at this 6-inch gutter, you're looking at about roughly 8 to 10 pounds of water per foot of gutter. This is a 4-foot gutter, so we have another 40 pounds or so of weight added to this gutter, which definitely makes a difference. It definitely puts pressure on the gutter system. Now in a short span like this, it's not a big deal, but imagine if you had a 40-foot gutter or a 60-foot gutter, how much weight would be added to that. And you can see also here, when we come down to the face, spillover is kind of what draws the debris. So you can see these pine needles that have spilled over, as well as some small locust flowers have spilled over the top and are now clinging to the face of your gutter. So if you have an open gutter and you've got leaves and debris inside of it, this is kind of what you can expect. Here we are with the expanded metal gutter guard, and take a look inside. You'll see the water droplets. You'll see that water bouncing off the water that's inside the gutter. So that water is almost at the top of the gutter. It is actually on top of the hangers within the gutter itself. So we have probably not even a ½ inch to go before that water would start spilling over. So if you look right here, this is the gutter lip. Here's the screen, edge of the screen. The water is literally at the top edge of the gutter lip. So if we get another downpour here in the not too distant future, odds are we're going to start to see water cascading over the top of this system. So if you compare this one to the open gutter, there's really no difference. The open gutter has leaves and debris that have built up inside it, and it has about 1.5 inches to go with the water. And this one has got a gutter screen on top of it, but it has allowed so much debris to get inside the gutter that the water is actually higher. The water table in here is actually higher than the system without the open gutter, or excuse me, the system with no gutter guard on it, with just the open gutter. So it's hard to know why, in this case, there's actually more water in here than there is in the one that's 2 doors down, other than the fact that maybe less debris has gotten into that other one, or the position of the debris has just left that downspout opening a little bit more open, which is allowing the water to vacate out of it more quickly. This one, there is just a ton of water sitting on top of it, which in my opinion means that putting this type of gutter guard on your system is just a waste of time and money. You can see how the water works its way across the top of the screen, so it doesn't necessarily just drop inside the screen. It follows the path of least resistance, which in this case is just following the openings of the metal, and it can actually work its way off the edge there and then kind of drip from the bottom. But what's really going on with this system is the amount of water that's inside it, and it's pretty much at the top, and it was definitely cascading over a few minutes ago. Here we're looking at the Klean Gutter system. So this is a sibling of Master Shield, and while the rain has slowed a bit, what's good to see is you're getting very little water kind of coming over the face of the gutter. So it looks like most of the water is actually going inside the gutter guard. And as I mentioned previously, because this one slides up under the shingles, you're less likely to see the water transitioning off the roof and onto the gutter guard itself. What you may see is some of the water beneath the screen. So between the screen and the framework, you might be able to see some of that water flowing through. But otherwise, like here, you can see a little bit of water just dripping off the edge of the shingles, and then it goes into the screen and gets drawn right into the gutter itself. So you can see there's some debris sitting on top of this at this point. It's mostly just loosely there. It's been wet, so I anticipate that will shift off the top of the screen. But at this point, appears to be doing a pretty good job. If you look at the face of the gutter, you can see a little bit of debris here on the front. There's a pine needle. Let me see if I can zoom out on this a little bit. So you can see some of that. And then at the bottom of the gutter, you just mostly have water beads forming, so there's no quick dripping, which is usually an indication of water coming over the top when it's raining. So overall, it's looking pretty good here on the Klean Gutter system. On this panel, you can see we still have debris sitting on top of it. The rain has mostly stopped. But what's different about this panel than some of the others is you can see a fair bit of water still dripping from the base of the gutter. And so right here I can feel it. It's landing on my arm there. So what's happening is the water despite the rain slowing down, is still working its way over the top of the surface and off the edge. So this appears to be a system, because it's got this combination of mesh and solid, that it's still allowing the water to work its way off the top. You can also see the extent to which the debris has caked on the face of the gutter, which is also a very strong indicator that a lot of water comes over in a good rain. So we'll be able to check this over and over again over the course of time. But you can see here, even with the rain pretty much stopped, you're still getting some dripping coming off the edge of this system. We'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons, and be sure to ding the bell and you'll be notified the next time we upload a video. Essentially, stuff is just landing inside this and staying inside this.